Alright guys, this is the daily status report application that me and Jody and Beth developed. We're going to walk through a simple use case, looking at the diagrams, and then looking at the application, as well as a couple other things, so you kind of get an idea for what specific use case that we're going to go ahead and show, for at least that we completed for this part of senior project. It's important to note that the diagrams and the plan are set, the application is not, because we decided to take a step back. We had a lot of scope creep, and so what we wanted to do is show you guys again a specific use case from start to finish, and then where we as a team are going to move forward post this class. So let's get into it, and hopefully this video works out very well. It's the first time I'm kind of used this, so we're going to see how it goes. Anyway, looking at our use case diagram, we're going to focus specifically on the employee here. So the employee here is what we're going to look at, and what we're focusing on is the view DSR and submit notify DSR. And what those use cases entail is the employee to log into the portal that we created, create and submit their DSRs, which are their daily status reports, and then be able to view the DSRs that they submitted up to a 7-day period. And I'll explain that as we get into the application, why that is and why we went with this method. We combined submit and notify DSR. They originally were split into two, but we decided to combine them into one page just to make it easier for the employee. And so that was kind of a big decision. We originally were going to have them separated, but in terms of coding and in terms of user, it just seemed easier to make them into one page. As we kind of come down and look at our class diagram, we're going to focus again specifically on employee. This is kind of what helps our backend in terms of, we know it's an employee. The employee is a status, username. Vake start and vake end are optional flags. They're used in case an employee submits a DSR that's notifying their employer that they're going on vacation. Today's date is the date for which the DSR is submitted, and then admin equals false. And what admin equals false means is that that employee doesn't have administrator privileges, and administrators have more options and more things to do in the program than just a simple employee. Down here are two methods: view and then add submit. View is just is just calling the database to look at the DSRs that they submitted, and then add submit is just providing regular CRUD to create update, or we'll create an update. They can't delete at this moment. That's set aside for admins. So as we kind of scroll down here, some SQL sequence diagrams for the employee, and I'll kind of go through this. But what's going to happen is the employee is going to open the application, and it's going to hit basically a view DSR page. So this is what's happening, is that the employee's decided that he wants to see his DSR. And so what he's going to do is he's going to open the application, view his DSR. He's then going to call the employee class in order to view said DSR, and then that's going to hit the database and come back with his DSRs that he's submitted. And let's kind of look at that. So if we get into the application, this is the application homepage. The data in here is just junk data. It's not a production database. It's it's very alpha. It's still very alpha right now. And the kind of look, I have a really big screen, which is why it looks kind of weird. We're gonna fix that in a later stage. So if I was an employee and I've hit my homepage, what I'm seeing is the DSR basically from the day before. So in this case, our junk data is set to February 27th, if you remember from our other demo. I just kept it. I didn't feel like messing with it. And so if an employee clicks view your DSR, this is what he's going to see. The 28, 27, 26, he won't see anything that's 7 days prior from the 28th, which is what this date was set as. And so the reason for that is just to kind of clear out old DSRs to keep the database from growing too large. They don't necessarily need anything that far back. And so it's going to show you the status, the message associated with that DSR. So for instance, out of office is a status, so his message is 000, which stands for out of office. On site, messages on site, meaning that he's with a client, and in office, this is what he did for the day. So you got the web server back online, which is really good for me. Obviously, I'm really good at this stuff. So that's how the view your DSR works, and we'll go back to home and we'll take a look at another sequence here. So submit notify, which is this down here, submit notify. So what's going to happen is he's going to open the application and he's going to hit the add/submit DSR page, which is in our example strictly the what's known as the submit your DSR tab. And then what's going to happen is that he's going to fill out some information, submit the DSR. It's going to hit the employee class. The employee class is going to take care of the information, send it on over into the DB access, and then the notification is going to hit the administrator to let the administrator know that, hey, this employee's in office, out of office, on site, etc., etc. And kind of how that works is as he hits his home page again, he's going to click on submit your DSR. What he does then is he has a selection of options. This is what's known as his notification. So if he's in office, he can be out of office, he can be on vacation, he can be on site. If he's in office, he's going to type down here, he can type whatever he wants. For example, fixed, replaced the water cooler. And he'd click submit, and then that would forward on into the database. This notification would hit the administrator, and he'd know that this employee is in an office. If, for example, he's out of office, is what he would say, or out sick, or I'm dying, etc., etc. And then the notification would hit that, etc., etc. The only real big difference is if he tags on vacation, he has 2 buttons that he can do. So for example, I'm going to be on vacation, here, starting June 14th, going to 29th. And I click submit, graduation. So, and I click submit, and so my employer would see, hey, this guy wants to be on vacation from June 14th to June 29th. And why? Well, he's on graduation. Cool. And so that's how these kind of tie in to this. We made this page extremely simple, and I want to keep it very simple because I want here the home page. If you look at a flow diagram, you have the employee user. He's going to connect to the site. He's going to hit the logon page. Successful login takes him to the home page, which is this here. What I wanted for the home page is I wanted the home page to be the most pertinent information. So he needs to know the status reports from yesterday. And what that tells him is that, for instance, me, yesterday I was on site. Yesterday JC did a presentation for the staff meeting, and then Beth did modify the client application system per my specifications. So maybe that tells me that, hey, I need to do some more work on the client application because my specifications have been modified in. That's one thing. At that point, the user has a choice. He can submit a DSR for the day, or he can view the DSRs from past. This part is really important for things like if you misspell or submit a wrong notification, or you submit a wrong status, or if you submit you're typing and all of a sudden you fat finger a word and it needs to be correct. And so you can either let an admin know so that he can edit it, because admins have that privilege, which is what I would do. And then up here you can submit a new DSR. Originally we had a plan to limit the amount of submissions per day, but due to constraints, like for example, if he wants to submit that he's in office for the day, but then he also wants to submit that he's going to be on vacation for next month or next week or whenever, they needed the ability to do that. The biggest issue that I've found is, in terms of security of that, is control versus flexibility. We want the employees to be as flexible as possible while at the same time maintaining security. And so that was the reason why we decided to go that route. But that kind of concludes that example use case. Like I said, we went through view DSR, we went through submit notify DSR. I showed you kind of in diagrams what's happening behind the scenes, and then I showed you in the application what goes on as an employee at the site. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and that's it.